Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Paranormal or Unexplained. I'm your host, Nick. This is my co host, Jason.
Hello, everybody.
Thank you all for coming in, and tonight we are discussing the phenomenon of the Men in Black. So please make sure you give us a like and a share. And thank you all again for coming in. I hope you're all having a good night. Now, one second here.
Men in Black, famous, Tommy Lee Jones, Will Smith.
No, not that Men in Black. Not that Men in Black. Not the movie. Not that whole thing.
What about the ones that chased E.T.?
Well, more that style. More that style.
Okay.
The Men in Black is basically nobody knows what this is. Like, nobody knows what the phenomenon is.
Well, it's Men in Black, so we kind of know what it is.
Well,
don't know who they are.
It's more of a legend than anything else. Kind of like an urban legend.
Well, this has got to be like one of the more plausible legends, with Area 51 and all that, like, out there. I mean, Area 51's been declassified. We know that exists.
Oh, yeah, we've known that exists for years now.
Yeah, so, and, Men in Black really didn't start making appearances or being well known until around that time, so...
Right.
Kind of coincides with each other.
Right. This, people have been saying, they don't know if these people are human or they're just government agencies. Nobody really knows who they are. They basically just show up as somebody is poking their nose into UFO conspiracies or have a UFO sighting and they're talking about it a lot, going on blast about it, going on radio stations and talking about it or something like that. Also,
but it's not like all UFO sightings. It's it got to be pretty significant ones.
But also, there were some reports that the Men in Black were also seen with black-eyed kids as well. There was one story I heard about the black-eyed kids where an elderly couple late at night were in bed. They woke up to somebody knocking on the door. The husband looked outside to see nobody, just footprints in the snow. He, leading to his house. He went downstairs, looked out the door, and he saw the two children standing there. The dog that they had was going nuts, basically being very aggressive to the door, barking, growling, stuff like that.
I think this is the same story I went into. I just didn't get into the Men in Black part of it.
No, that was right at the end.
Oh.
As the husband approached the door, the dog started whining, becoming very very nervous, skittish, scared, didn't want the man to open the door or even go to it whatsoever. And the gentleman opened up the door and the kids were standing there and he basically, was asking them what was wrong. They asked to come inside and use their phone. At this point, the wife was downstairs with him and they let the children in. The children came in and they just sat on the couch and just stared blankly, just no expression on their face.
I thought there was no reports of people actually letting them in. What happens?
Yeah, well, this was one of the reports, but even then, there's still no real evidence to
what happens.
Exactly. Okay. But they let the children in. The children just sat on the couch and just stared, blankly, just stared straight, didn't make any movements, nothing like that whatsoever. And the husband and wife basically asked the kids, where are your parents? Oh, well, they'll be here soon. They're coming to pick us up. And
Mr. Bisley Dudley Do Right and fucking pure black suit show up and we're here. Thank you.
Well, here's the messed up part. As they're sitting there, some time passes and stuff like that, and the wife notices that the kid's eyes just went completely black. The husband wasn't feeling well as time went on. He started getting dizzy and stuff like that. And as like the wife is tending to the husband, all the lights went out in the house. All the power just died completely. Obviously, the wife and the husband now are starting to freak out. And then this bright light comes shining from the front of the house, and the kids in a sing-song voice basically go, well, our parents are here now, and they go out and they get in the car, and in the car in the front are two men in black, and they just disappear.
You know, I just now like came up with this theory. What if like the black-eyed children are like men in black in training?
It's
They send them off and they're like, see if you can get in their house and use your little tricks, make them sick and stuff.
it's possible. It's possible. There's been like theories that the black-eyed kids were an experiment and they got loose.
Get that coronavirus out there, kids. Go,
Yeah,
go.
something like that. Just something very, very elaborate. Things like that. But the Men in Black have been around. Like the story of the Men in Black has been around for years. Anything that involved like UFO conspiracies or anything like that, they would usually show up and question the people. And anybody that basically had a run-in with them was like very, very ominous. They didn't like these people. They always looked the same, like they were twins, very tall, built, no hair whatsoever, very, very pale. And every time they looked into in their eyes, they basically felt like they were being hypnotized. Like,
Now, is there reports of like men in black that are actually like real people, like obviously real people?
I'm yes, there have been.
Okay.
Obviously, like the whole Roswell crash. Not only were there military people telling anybody that was like that
Yeah,
saw
'cause
the crash.
you would think like some bald headed dude just standing on the side of the road, being like, "Move along, nothing to see here," wouldn't like be like kind of obvious.
Yeah, I know. But like,
Please, sir, I have no emotions. Please move along.
but like that's the whole thing. Like these people just appear. They basically tell you, we don't want you talking about what you're, saying anymore. Keep your mouth shut, and that's basically it. Like they're more of an intimidation thing. Also, during the whole Mothman prophecy, or like the whole like incident with the Mothman at Point Pleasant, there were sightings of the Men in Black there as well. Basically, going to people's houses, asking them questions of what they saw, if they saw anything, stuff like that. Um, People have also said they're like very, very like erratic about things, like they're more fast, like they were fascinated about simple little things like a pen or something like that. Not normal personal behavior on some of
Not
these.
somebody that you think came from like some government agency that's supposed to know everything. It's like, ooh, what's a pear?
Yeah, so like certain things they were like really, really weird about, and like other things they were just like like the whole entire like conspiracy theory thing, and then just wanting you to shut up about it. They were like very, very strict over, but something else like common, they were like like a child taking it.
Right.
Hey Carrie, how you doing? Thank you for coming in.
What's going on, Gary?
In fact, there was like a couple stories. One of which was by Albert K. Bender. Let's see here. He founded the International Flying Saucer Bureau in the 1952. This was like around Project Blue Book, and this was like when like the Men in Black were like really being
See,
first
I always
reported.
get skeptical of people that's like founded like so that like big thing because they gotta have something like credible behind them. So, because like, who's gonna join some like international UFO foundation that's seen no UFOs?
Well, here's the thing. It was created in 1952, but he shut it down in 1953.
Hmm.
In March of 1953, he was approached by three men in black. They visited his house and communicated with him telepathically. They gave him a metal disc with instructions. He reported he felt like he was being transported, and they apparently shared insights on the nature of UFOs. The men shared the origins of the UFOs with Bender. Afterwards, he became ill and didn't eat for 3 days. As a result of the visitation, he felt encouraged to share what he had seen with other UFO investigators, but he
So
refused.
okay, so let me get this. I'm sorry. It just I guess I'm having a hard time picturing it. Like they show up to see what this guy knows.
Hmm.
And during their investigation, they tell him everything they know.
Well, that's the thing. Like, this one wasn't like one of the normal ones. This was something totally different, but it was also
I know
not.
that's just what I'm saying. It's like that one's kind of like out there because it's
Yeah.
like, why would they show up to investigate you? Like, oh, so you just think there's little gray men, right? Well, actually, they're green, man. They're like 10 feet tall. You start telling them everything. Like, dude, here's a little disc. You don't believe me? We got it down on Blu-ray. Go look it up.
Well, here's another interesting thing about with this gentleman Bender. That wasn't the first visitation. He reported another visitation, but instead it was more of a supernatural thing. He was visited by three shadowy figures. They didn't touch the floor, they hovered above it. They told him that their human appearance was an illusion, and whatever he told people about their visitation would not be believed. And he supposedly told him that they captured people on Earth and used their bodies to disguise themselves. So that was more of like a possession case kind of thing they're describing. So the Men in Black would be using people more to just use their bodies, whatever they need
Damn,
to
like
on Earth.
Men in Black went complete like Third Reich, started summoning demons and stuff.
Yeah, it's more like kind of like the Matrix scenario type of thing than anything.
I think this guy just did some really good shrooms back in high school.
Yeah, it's possible.
Like, or did drop some acid one day and like popped his back the wrong way, and a little bit of the leftover acid got in there, and he was like, "Damn, Men in Black, coming back."
Well, he was part of the United States Army Air Corps during World War II in 1942. So
I could have got some shell shock.
possibly.
I just don't see a government agency coming in and being like, "Sir, tell us what you saw," and then you explain everything, and they're like, "Okay, well, here's what really happened," and then they don't give you like, "Oh, weather balloon went up, and we lost
Yeah.
like control and it crashed." He's just straight up like, "All right, they come from the Gamma Quadrant, flew down, they hit the ground. Dude got out and was like, dude, my mom's gonna be fucking pissed. So right now we're trying to figure out how to fix this dude's ship so battle cruisers don't come over and blow us up, and then we got to go call Tommy Lee Jones out."
All right, another case, which was in 1976, which was rather well known, was by Dr. Herbert Hopkins.
Yeah, I've heard this one.
Yeah, he was a consultant on a UFO teleportation case in Maine, and one evening when he was home by himself, the telephone rang, and a man identifying himself as a vice president of New Jersey UFO Research Organization asked if he could visit him and discuss things that he found. Obviously, Hopkins agreed, and he went to the door to turn on the front porch light, and as he got to the door, he already got like a knock at the door. Like the guy was already walking up on his porch steps by the time he got to the door. He said he saw no car. He didn't hear a car coming up to his house whatsoever, and it kind of took him back because it was just obviously at that point in time there was no cell phones, nothing like that, and the guy's already at his front steps walking up to him. So he let the man in. The man was dressed in a black suit, black hat, shoes, ties, and a white shirt. He said he thought he looked like an undertaker. Like they were like the clothes were
Yeah.
perfect, you know, completely pressed, no creases, no wrinkles, nothing like that. When the man took his hat off, he revealed that he was completely hairless, completely bald, no eyebrows, eyelashes, skin was dead white, lips were bright red. In the course of the conversation, he brushed his lips at one point with like his gloves, and the gentleman obviously was like wearing lipstick because it smeared right off.
Right.
Um,
He just wanted to look pretty.
well, at the time, like during the whole entire conversation, the man that was visiting Hopkins basically told him, you know, to stop his research. Um,
People are on to you, blah blah.
yeah, there was no like they wanted him to stop looking into everything. And at one point, he told him that Hopkins had a coin in his pocket. He told him to take the coin out and hold it in his hand and watch the coin. As he sat there and watched it, the coin went like the penny went from copper to like a bluish color, and then just like disappeared completely in his hand. And he said, if you ever like if you continue this, then the same thing that happened to the coin will happen to you.
Yeah.
So basically
Now,
threatening
did
him.
he still have the coin to present to people after this, or is it just like gone?
It's gone. It's completely gone. Like it vanished in thin air. Like just dissolved, gone, poof, gone. Um, After that happened, the man stood up to his feet slowly and basically just said, "My energy is running low. Let's go now. Goodbye." He walked to the door, and obviously Hopkins was following him. And as he went downstairs, like down the front porch, again, no car outside. Hopkins saw a bright light shining in the driveway and then just vanished. After that, Hopkins basically just went back into his house, just sat there. His wife and his kids came home, and they said he was very distraught, obviously very stressed out and freaked out, and he didn't really know what to say or even like talk about it whatsoever. So, and there was no such organization as New Jersey UFO Research Organization. The no institute like that existed. So,
So they were just trying to get in.
yes, yeah, they were just basically.
Well, what if he just would have said no? Would the guy have just been like, "All right, cool"?
I'm sure they would still would have came in, right, regardless of what he said. I think they were just saying that just so that they could, like, you know,
Like easier to get in,
yes,
not
because
cause a scene or something.
yeah, so that way, like, it would be more inconspicuous. They can just walk, you know, they would know they would get in if they said that to him. Other than that, if they,
No.
you know, just said we need to talk to you, obviously that would raise questions, and he would be more hesitant to say yes and let them in.
Yeah, well, like I said, my thoughts are kind of like, I mean, I believe the Men in Black are real because, I mean, shit, I mean, they've been around forever. You see them, like, in photos of, like, anything kind of conspiracy or paranormal-like
Mm-hmm.
and all that. But, I mean, I really just don't think we got these supercharged things. I mean, like, super beings walking around in black suits and bald that, like, are just blending in that easily.
Oh, right. I agree with you on that. But I mean, again, we really don't know what we have. I mean,
Unless it was like some like like late World War II super soldier experiments that went like the war ended and now they ain't got nothing to do with them, so they're just Men in Black now. I don't know.
that's the whole thing. Like, no, we really don't know anything about it. We don't know what they are, who they are. You know, I mean, they could just be normal, like, people just working under a government agency that we don't know even exists.
Yeah, see, that's what I could see. I just see normal people working it because I think it'd be too much of a liability to release like these superpower things out there in case someone really or they went wrong. Like,
Mm-hmm.
not like somebody saw them or something crazy, but what if they fucking just had a malfunction one day or fucking breakdown and just started fucking frying people in the middle of the street?
Well, we also don't know how many of them there are.
Exactly.
That's the other
So,
thing. Now, you did
but
hear. Go ahead.
oh, but like it's just if like that kind of like evidence got out, then the government wouldn't have any deniability.
Yeah.
So it's like they'd have so many things that they'd have to be questioned for and answered for now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Now, did you hear anything about Dan Aykroyd having any run-ins with these things?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Now, I don't know how true this is. This might just be like a whole.
He was filming a show, wasn't he?
Yep, he was doing a show on Sci-Fi. I don't know the name of it, but it's basically based on UFOs, paranormal stuff like that.
You know the shit's fucked up when it's got the Ghostbusters spooked.
Exactly, exactly. But again, like I said, I don't know if it's true or not because again, it's just a story, and he might have just been saying it just to hype up his show. Who knows?
No, the show got canceled. It couldn't really hype up the show.
Um, who knows? Maybe he was trying to. I don't know. But all I know is basically the one day he was on set of a show. They were having a break. He went outside for a cigarette. Black car comes up, and what do you know it? Two guys dressed in black sitting in there basically approached him and told him, you need to stop doing what you're doing. We don't want you doing this anymore. And give
So
him
they
the,
told him it was a certain episode they didn't want him to film,
yes.
wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe it was. I just don't remember the episode. But it was basically, in short, you need to stop doing what you're doing. We don't want you talking about this. You know?
Yeah, and I think when I read about it, I think what was odd about this was that the episode that he was covering was something about clones or something like that.
Okay.
And their conspiracy into like UFOs and
So basically, it was more than likely a Dulce type of episode.
kind of yeah.
Okay.
And when he started like going into like how government and alien kind of working together kind of thing,
Yeah.
they showed up and were like, "Shut the fuck up, dude. You can be a little loud here."
Yeah. Yeah. That's basically what they were talking. Like the whole entire episode was supposed to be. Then more than likely it was about Dulce. So, all right, that makes sense.
And see, it's like I could believe that more because he doesn't like come out and say that like they were like completely fugly or weird looking. He just like, dude, two guys showed up, but by the way they handled themselves, I knew that they were serious.
Exactly. And plus, like, you don't really hear anything about Dan Aykroyd being like, going nuts or anything like that.
He doesn't go crazy about this either.
No, no.
He's not like that guy running around that, says he's a scientist. It's like on the science channels with like the big afro hair. Looks like he's been hit by lightning.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
He's like some leading guy in Aliens right now.
Yeah.
How do you become a leading guy on something we don't even know exists?
I don't even know.
I'm a leading guy on the Tooth Fairy. It took all my teeth until I was like 15.
I think you need to get in line for that one because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other people that are more than you right now.
I mean, for real, man. That's like saying I have qualifications and being like an airplane pilot because I've watched the movie Airplane.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, by the way, if y'all haven't seen Airplane, it's a completely spoof comedy. So.
Oh God, yeah.
So there's no way you would know how to fly a plane by watching the movie Airplane.
That is not how planes are flown. So do not take that.
Yeah, don't go thinking I just gave you a documentary to watch.
Exactly, exactly. But again, like this phenomenon, well, these people have been around for quite a few years now, especially when the UFO craze first started. Like that's when they started coming out. But
See, that's why it gives me plausible, because you would think that if, because like I mean, there's no doubt in my mind, or there's no doubt in I think anybody's mind that something happened in Roswell that day.
oh yeah,
What it was is that, well, we don't know. Like whether it was a military experiment or an actual UFO, we just don't know.
well I
But
remember.
it does make sense to establish a unit at that time if it was something like extraterrestrial,
Well,
to like start investigating and finding out what people know.
well, extraterrestrial or military, like either way, if it's a top secret like project or program, you don't want everybody like looking into it, especially at that time. I mean, that was like almost the start of the Cold War, so anybody that's like not military or proper clearance, you don't want them getting involved in it because obviously then they'll be a target as well.
I just love
So
when they try to tell you that you don't see something that you obviously know a lot of people saw, like when there's lights hovering over giant cities, and they're like, "Oh no, I don't even know what y'all are talking about."
yeah.
That's like Godzilla attacking Tokyo,
Hmm.
and somebody running up to like a military official being like, "Help us, there's a giant monster attacking the town." And he's like, "Oh no, it's just a Macy's Day balloon caught in the wind. It's just thrashing against the building. It's not attacking it."
There was one thing I was going to say, but I freaking forgot. God damn
So goddamn Godzilla, he destroys everything.
it. So, what else do you have to say about him?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, to me, like when I think of Men in Black, I don't think of like the Men in Black, like people, all that. I don't think of Will Smith. Like I said, I think of like the men chasing like E.T. and stuff. That's the kind of Men in Black I see.
I agree. I agree.
Like a government agency just shows up. They have a license to do whatever the fuck they want, whenever the fuck they want. They don't have to tell you nothing. Yeah, they seem mysterious. They seem weird. And back then, because a lot of these mind tricks and all that shit were also going back in the time when, like, when they say that, like, being around them, because this is a theory I read about, is that they say being around them, that people felt nauseous and other things. These people were hairless
Hmm.
and constantly, like, either fidgeted with their head or seemed like they were talking to something that wasn't there.
Hmm.
Like they could read minds or something like that.
Yeah, there
And
have been reports of
they
them
could
being
get
telepathic.
yeah, and they could get orders out of thin air,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But there's this long running, like, I don't even know if it's a theory. It might be a fact, and it's just a lot of people just don't know about it.
Hmm.
But the government's technology, what they use secretly, and what we know about, like the new iPhones that are coming out right now, the government's probably had that same technology, been using it in the field for 10 years.
Oh God, yeah. I mean,
And
look at drone technology for instance.
yeah,
Drones
yeah,
were
and
out
so
before they became civilian use.
yeah, so to me, like in the 1960s, somebody reaching up and grabbing their ear
Hmm.
and like talking in the thin air, it's like somebody grabbing a wireless mic and
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah.
And then there's no secret that back then in the 60s and from the 40s all the way to the like early 70s,
Hmm.
that radiation testing on soldiers was not uncommon.
That's true. Radiation testing on soldiers.
Especially in those high like government secret, little things. That would explain hair loss on some of them.
Well, not
And
only
why, and then if they are irradiated, why people felt sick after being around them.
Well, not only that, but also like some populated areas were tested with like radiological like effects and
Mm-hmm.
chemical effects as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, I mean that could explain a lot of the side effects that you would have from it. That would
hmm
explain like them getting orders as far as appearing up in thin air. Like I said, they probably had this kind of technology because I remember back in like the fucking what was it, early '80s, late '70s. Remember the suitcase fucking cell phone?
suitcase cell phone. No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was like this little bag
Oh, the bag
that
phone.
like like you plugged it into the cigarette lighter,
Yeah, the
and
phone in the
yeah,
bag. Yeah,
that was your
yeah,
phone.
yeah.
Yeah, and they had them when they were dial, like where you had to like use a little dial, ring dial, like the big turn tone.
Okay,
Yeah, they had them back for that too.
I didn't know that. I know like the
Yeah,
cell phone bags,
so
but I didn't
being
know
out
they
there
had the
sitting in a
rotary ones.
car and using a phone like that, I mean, because you got to remember, there like some rich people had those kind of phones back in like the early '80s, late '70s.
hmm
Now imagine what the kind of technology the government had.
Yeah,
So I mean, them like making a call and then showing up at the door, that's not like crazy to me. Or, what if it was somebody else on the phone and then they're just like, yeah, he's home, and the guy walked up.
yeah, yeah. I can understand that. And yeah, the military and the government basically their technology is like far more advanced than like the civilian. Like anything that
Hmm.
comes out military wise is basically a hand me
Yeah.
down to the civilians. That's basically all it is.
So yeah. So if you ask me, well, what I think about these guys, it's honestly what it is to me. It's fun and it's awesome to think about that there's these group of guys out there running around with powers or gadgets and shit like Will Smith and flashing you and you forget everything and all this, or like using mental Jedi mind tricks to make you get up and leave your office, like that video I sent you,
hmm
and stuff like that. It's fun to think about that kind of stuff.
I still
Is
think
it?
that.
Is it?
Go ahead.
What you still think that one was rehearsed?
Yeah, I still think that
I do
one was
too. I
rehearsed.
do too.
The other one
Well,
that I showed you, though, I don't think that one was rehearsed.
yeah, but see, like, I think for us, like, that's why we love the paranormal, is because it's fun to get away from reality. It's fun to think that stuff can happen out there because our lives are literally just sometimes boring.
hmm
But in all reality, it's most likely what I believe is just some dude in a suit showing up. And yeah, he may have something on him because he works really high up in the government. Somebody you don't even probably know his name.
hmm
Probably doesn't even have a name anymore. He's so high up in there. And he probably got fucking technology he's running around with. We couldn't even fathom what some of it does.
Exactly.
I mean, I knew we had what was called bat hide systems in Afghanistan, and like all it was like this retinal scanner that I'd walk up and I would ask somebody just to stand there, and it was like I put like those Jurassic Park goggles up on me.
hmm
They looked kind of like that, but you held them and you like just stared at them and you zoomed in. You clicked some buttons and it like registered their retinas and like everything else, and then you had like a little fingerprint scanner on top and you had them scan their thumbs on top, and it would read databases from all around the world,
Oh wow.
like not straight to you but to a command center, because you would get what you have, you would upload it into a laptop in your Humvee,
hmm
send it out, they would get it, and in a matter of minutes it was like almost running a system like a cop does.
Oh wow.
And so we'd have that guy in like holding for 5 minutes. We'd find out that if he's a goat farmer that's been registered before, if
hmm
he's never been registered, or if he's some high level terrorist we've been looking for.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, like people think you can't do shit like that. No, that kind of shit's out there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it is.
Like we had another thing. Like people talk about how like they just showed up and our cell phones shut off, and how does that happen? Well, we had a thing called what's called a Thor system, and all it is a little backpack you wear,
hmm
and like two people wear it, and when you get into a certain area, they bounce off of each other and create a radio interference where no transmissions can come in and out of that area.
Okay.
So it's pretty much a jamming signal.
Yeah, I remember hearing stories of like people over in Afghanistan like having the backpack systems and stuff like that, and also like how hazardous they were. Like people were getting like sick wearing those things.
Yeah, well, I never did. I've worn them a couple times. I never did. We wore them for like when EOD would show up, we'd have to walk them out there and escort them to a bomb, and they would dismantle it, and we'd stand there like, oh fuck, don't fuck up, because you got to stand there right with them because you can't let a signal get to it.
Yeah. Carrie
so,
just.
What's that?
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, so like them having that kind of like technology, if that's what we're using right now, and that's not even top secret.
Mm-hmm.
I can imagine they could have something a lot smaller that's capable of doing that.
Yeah, in this day and age, yeah.
Yeah.
But Carrie said she is watching Paranormal Caught on Camera. She said she saw what looked like a witch flying through the sky, and she said the Men in Black showed up. That's interesting. That's new.
A witch flying through the sky.
She said what looked like a witch.
Oh. Well.
I've seen videos before of like what it looks like as a person flying through the sky and before.
Yeah, I've seen that. Some of them were drones and stuff, like with something attached to them and stuff, wasn't it?
Some of them, but some other ones.
Yeah, there was that one though that was in like Beirut or somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
That like it flew over like a huge crowd and people were fucking freaking out. Like they couldn't explain it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, cause that one they said, well, obviously wasn't a drone because nobody could hear it, but it was too close to everybody to be not heard.
Yeah.
I don't know, witches flying and stuff. I don't know. I like to believe like people are evolving out there to be able to have like powers and stuff, but I don't know. I don't buy into the whole magic and witches, and yeah, that's not my alley. I don't see Gandalf showing up and saving us on the white horse. The coronavirus shall not pass.
I do remember like years ago seeing like a video of this one guy is just walking around outside with his dog, and his dog is looking at something, and he pans up and he sees like this woman and her daughter. Her daughter is like off the ground, like at least a good like 4 or 5 feet off the ground.
She drops down and runs with her.
Yeah, she's basically had like the mother has her arms out. The daughter is basically just like levitating, at least a good like 4 or 5 feet off the ground.
I thought that got like debunked.
I didn't hear anything about that being debunked.
I may be wrong. I don't know. Maybe another one that somebody was talking about. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. It was like a little bitty girl, and she was like flying in the air, and she when they notice that somebody's there, she like falls. Mom catches, and they just run off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
that's another episode we need to have. Is like. Matter of fact, let's do that next weekend. Let's do superheroes. Are they among us?
Okay.
Like, is there superpowered people out there that are really out there, like super strength, telekinesis, like real life superheroes out there that are just hiding in plain sight?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I think that's an interesting one, because you got science that could say so many things, but then you got things that they can't explain. Like, for like with the instance, like we all know the story about like the car that falls and like the dad catches it from hurting the kid or something like that.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about? Like that sheer just will of adrenaline takes over, and he just lifts a car or beats, and like that one, for example, the guy. Alligator popped out of the pond and grabbed his kid, and he pulled the kid into the pond, and the dad jumped into the pond, and in like 2 punches killed the alligator, which usually takes a pretty good sized round to kill an alligator through that kind of hide.
Oh yeah.
but he killed the thing in 2 swings.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think I would have been wanting to get hit by those swings.
No.
And the dude went. I saw a picture of the dude. Well, not a picture. There's a video of it somewhere. I remember seeing it a while back. I'll have to go find it. But like, the dude wasn't big at all. He's just a normal sized dude.
It was just more of an adrenaline rush, just going right through him.
Yeah, and then you see those videos of like people like walking across the street, and all of a sudden somebody like zooming in and pulling them out of the way of a car, and
yeah, and then disappearing.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of them. So,
yeah.
But yeah, Men in Black though, I would say, I guess I'd have to just go unexplained, just because of the fact that like I don't think that they're paranormal at all. I just think it's a bunch of dudes doing a 9 to 5 for the government. That's my take.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I believe that I'm more of it's an unexplained phenomenon than anything else.
Right.
There's like obviously there's like pictures and stuff like that and just like stories of them, but as for who and what they are, we still don't know. And
yeah, and then there's so many out there that are just obviously fake. Like,
yeah,
it's just 2 guys standing there in a black suit, Men in Black outside the donut shop.
Yeah, you can't really say that it's paranormal, but it's definitely unexplained though.
Yeah, but yeah.
All right, well.
That's all I got for it.
That's all I got for it too. I mean, like I said, like this whole thing has been around since like the dawn of the UFO era, and like the UFO cases started.
That's where it gets the most plausibility to me. Is that this is where it gets the plausibility too for all you people that think I'm just a skeptic all the time. Is that like something happened out there in Roswell that wasn't government based?
No.
Because why create a group that goes out investigating it if you know what it is?
Yeah.
So.
Well, another thing with the whole Roswell thing that now I remember what I was going to say was there was one theory that I heard like a long time ago that since it was like right around the time of the Cold War, and obviously Russia was communist at that time, they basically took kids, they basically like deformed them and stuff like that and just sent them over here to us, and the ship crashed, and that whole scenario happened just to get people like all worked up and hysterical and things like that.
So it was a propaganda.
Yeah, that's
a Cold War tactic.
Yes, that's one theory, but I mean that's like really, really far fetched.
I don't know, man. Russia fucking had women getting fucked by gorillas.
Right.
So, but deforming some kids is kind of like a stretch down from that.
But I mean, if that was the case, why has anybody like really come forth and say, okay, well, this is what it really was?
Well, probably because of the same reason why, like for example, like I'm pretty sure governments all know, like for example, if we're all in a tight group together and we don't really like each other, but we gotta work together, we all know each other's dirty shit. But if we want to get the job done, we can't say what the dirty shit is.
Right.
But if you stop me from doing what I want to do, I might say what your dirty shit is. You know, that's how I see, like, how all the governments work together. Like, like, the government, the USA found out that, they were sending deformed kids over here. So they're like, all right, look, we got your kids. We know what y'all are doing. We got it wrote down. Don't fuck around again, or else we're going to tell everybody.
Yeah.
You know, or, they're like, okay, we're even for trying to spy on you or something like that. Because I think there's too many spies in here because there's been no secret that spies have existed.
Oh, that's obvious. I mean,
Yeah,
for you to sit for anybody to sit there and say no, there's no such thing as spies. I mean, that's stupid.
yeah,
Every country
you
has a
know,
spy.
and you're not gonna come out and sit there and say that, oh yeah, they got a spy in here and they spied on us.
Mm-hmm.
Because not only are you admitting to the world that yeah they got in and got our shit and got out or whatever they did, but
Right.
you lose face with your own public.
Right. Right.
Your own people think you can't secure them anymore.
Right.
Remember, that was the whole problem back in the Cold War, was that a lot of people were getting beaten to death, and this is a dark part of the Cold War people don't talk about, is how people were getting beaten to death
Mm-hmm.
because they were like, oh, he's a commie spy. And, because the fear mongering was huge.
Oh, yeah.
The commies were coming and they
yeah.
were going to nuke everybody. They had kids hiding under desks for drills. And
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I remember hearing all the stories about, like, the nuclear bomb, like, drills and stuff like that from my parents and stuff like that.
You imagine the fuck around in your head that would do as a kid?
Oh, God, yeah.
I mean, I had a tornado drill, being from Texas, and I'm, sitting there thinking that if a tornado really showed up, I'm going to shit my pants.
Yeah.
What am I going to do if a nuke shows up?
Exactly.
Do they show the kid what a nuke is?
Well, if a nuke's coming, you don't got much time, long for that to fucking...
Well, I mean, do they, show them a video of, the nukes going off and show them what it looks like and stuff? And
yeah.
This is what you got to look forward to.
Exactly.
End up like Indiana Jones hiding in a refrigerator.
Oh, God, please don't bring that up. Oh, God, that movie was just, no, just
And
why?
the Men in Black and Alien showed up there, too.
Yeah, I sat through that whole movie. Thank God I didn't go to the theater for that, and I had a burned copy of it, and I watched it, and I was just so disappointed.
Remember, people, if you are being chased by communists or Men in Black, all you need is Shia LaBeouf.
Oh, man. God.
Well, I think that should be about where we end this before we get too much into this shitty Indiana Jones movie.
One other thing that Carrie said, she heard that Russia has real zombies and found hell and all kinds of things. I believe I know what you're talking about with, they found a passage to hell. I think it was some geologists were digging into a tunnel and they started hearing all these weird sounds and stuff like that, and they believe they found like a portal to hell in Russia, but I don't know about that. I don't know how true that is. That's very, very elaborate and obviously can be very easily hoaxed. But I mean, it's still something very interesting. I heard about that years and years ago.
Yeah, I'd like to see somebody get sent in there.
Yeah.
Be like, he'd come back and be like, what was it like? And he was like, it was hell. And be like, well, what happened to you? What was on the other side? And you're like, just reruns of Howdy Doody for hours. It's like Hitler fondling my butthole the whole time. It's kind of awkward.
All right. Well,
yeah.
That's where we're going to end the show for tonight, everybody.
Yeah, we're ending the show with Hitler fondling a butthole tonight. That's how we're ending the show.
Before we start getting into a lot of other things.
Hitler fondling genitalia.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, Carrie, and yeah, it was kind of really, really weird. But like I said, that could be very easily faked, because all you have to do is just get audio clips from a horror movie and just pump it right into it with some echo, and that's pretty much it. But
yeah.
But who, in all honesty, though, who knows?
I mean, and it's not a tactic that the government hasn't used before. I mean, y'all heard of what the U.S. soldiers used to do to the Vietnamese?
No, no, I didn't hear that.
Like this is a real, and if you don't believe me, like this drove people to suicide and stuff in certain areas. Like the Vietnamese are very strong religious and their belief people,
Mm-hmm.
and they believe like kind of like old Japanese and a lot of Asian cultures believe that when people die and stuff, their spirits can remain and uh like haunt and kill people that get wander into their paths and stuff.
Right, right.
So like the US government found out that they believed that these things were real,
Mm-hmm.
and so they hired Vietnamese people to come into a recording studio and cry out in like agony and to like say like phantom phrases like I'm here for you and things like that. And they
Okay.
would hang speakers up in the woods that they knew were highly patrolled by the Viet Cong,
Mm-hmm.
and they would play these messages at night.
Okay, so more like a psychological tactic.
Yeah, so when the soldiers were coming through the woods, they would think they were being haunted by the spirits of their dead.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, God, we got to get out of here. The Americans killed people here. Now they're coming back for us. And
Yeah, yeah.
they would run and go crazy. And people reportedly killed themselves because after they left, they said the voices followed them home. And
Mm-hmm.
people do a lot of fucked up shit. I mean, if you don't believe that, you don't think the government does fucked up shit, watch the movie The Men Who Stare at Goats.
Okay.
Because that is legit 100% true story, and they 100% had a company in the army that believed that they could use telepathy and run through walls and stuff, and they LSD'd an entire base.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, if you look at it like MK Ultra, like there's like documents that they basically used LSD on their own, like military personnel for that.
Oh yeah, this is the story of how that happened. This is what they did.
Oh, okay.
Like there was like a whole place in like Saudi Arabia, like a base out there,
Mm-hmm.
and they went and dumped it into the water supply.
Mm-hmm.
It like the whole. I mean, they didn't tell anybody, not even the high command. They just dumped it in the water and left. And the base went ape shit.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because they just wanted to see what would happen
Mm-hmm.
if they put it in an enemy water supply.
Yeah. That's messed up. That's really
Yeah, to
messed
their
up.
own people.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we can go on all day about shit the government's done.
We can go on all day about all this shit. So I mean, not
Yeah.
just the government, just this whole the whole topic in general. But
Goddamn Godzilla destroys everything.
all right. Until next time, thank you all again for coming in. We all hope you enjoy the show. We will be posting our next topic on the page, so just make sure you stay tuned. Thank you all again for coming in. I'm Nick. This is my co-host Jason.
Later, guys.
Have a good night, everybody. Also, if you have any kind of topics or stories that you want us to look into or discuss, feel free to message us. We'll be more than happy to do it for you. So, hope to hear from you all soon. Have a good night, everybody.
Boogity boo.